Hey y'all, it's Sherry. I'm going to go over some basic knife skills today. First, you want a good cutting board, one that either has some non-skid feet on it, like my little Tupperware cutting board here, or you can lay a wet paper towel down and set it on top of that so it doesn't slide all over your surface. Then, the next thing you want is how you hold your knife. Now, you don't need a whole lot of knives, but probably 80% of what I use in the kitchen is this big chef knife. It's my favorite, and it's the one included in the Tupperware kit, right? All of our blades come with covers. On the cover, you can tell what the blade is because it has a little picture of it. Like this one shows it serrated, this one shows it straight. The colors make it easily identifiable if it's in a block. It's also written on here, this is a chef knife, in case you forget. So Tupperware makes it pretty easy for us. So I'll demonstrate first with a big onion. Mostly what you do is chop, dice for recipes, right? So the best way to hold a good chef knife is wrap your fingers around it. You're going to use your finger and your thumb to guide the blade, and the rest of your fingers wrap around the handle of the blade. You don't want to chop straight through when you're chopping. It's not efficient and it's not safe. So the best way to do it is to leave the tip of the blade down and use a rocking motion when you're cutting, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do is slice all the way through this. So I'm gonna get my blade down first and then finish the slice all the way through. Okay, I'm gonna leave that end part on because it'll actually make it easier to keep it together. Then I'll just peel this off. It's helpful if you have a little trash thing nearby. I'm gonna chop this end off too. And peel. Just peel off the outer layers because we don't need them for this. Just to show some chop. So, there we go. Then there's several different techniques you can use when you're chopping an onion. Now when you hold, you don't want to hold with your fingers open. It's too big a risk of cutting them. So what you do instead is wrap them underneath and the thumb too. So you're going to make more of a claw so that the handle, the shaft of the knife is going to butt up right against the knuckle, but never raise it above your knuckle, right? Because you don't want to shear off your knuckle. So I'm just first going to make some little cuts through here, and I'm not going to go all the way through because I don't want a big old mess. Then I'm going to use the shape of the knife with the shape of the onion and just do some cuts. Just do some little slices. Just do some slices across the whole length of our onion so y'all can see that. And then I'll be ready for us to chop it up. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my little claw hold. I'm going to leave the tip of the blade down and just make some chops. So what I can do is actually use my thumb and my fingers to push the onion towards the knife. So I'm getting a nice rough chop. So as I get closer, you'll see that I'm getting close to my knuckles and not right up at it. All right. So when a recipe calls for a dice, it's usually looking for a medium dice, and that's about a medium dice. If you need it a little finer, put your hand across the top of the blade, not really any weight through it, but just to balance it, and you can give it a little bit more chop. Okay, kind of a rough chop there. So good little dice or chop with the onion, and that's the main thing you're gonna be. The main cut you'll use with an onion. You can also slice it really thin, and this blade will do that nicely as well. Then I'll show you how to do a mince. The things we usually mince are going to be garlic, right? So this is going to be your whole bulb of garlic, and normally what we do is you're looking for a clove. Let me just smash that, and the little cloves come out easy if you just smash them. And the best way to peel a clove of garlic is to first crush the clove. So you can crush it with the weight of your knife like this. Crush. Then if I just peel, that will peel pretty easy too. Just after crushing it. All right, so we'll get a good mince going. I never buy the minced garlic because it just tastes so much better when I do it myself. Besides, I like to do things like this. So again, I'm gonna leave that little end on so that it makes it easier for me as I start to mince this garlic. So this one's pretty little, kind of hard to hold, right? Gonna keep the tip of your knife down. Just make some little slices, not all the way through it. You don't want it to fall apart on us, right? Then I'm gonna come back with my knife here, cut. Just some nice little thin slices as I get close. There we go. Now I'll go back and use that same rocking motion, crisscross, back and forth. That's what's gonna give you that really fine mince. So these fingers here in front are I'm just using them to direct the blade, to help it not really any weight through this hand. But my fingers are out of the way, so I'm not gonna chop them. Okay. So there's a good little mince for you on the garlic. So if you keep going, you can make it a little finer. All right, then I'll show one more cut with this knife. So I'm gonna pretend that these are basil leaves. I didn't actually have any basil leaves today. And I'm gonna show you how to chiffonade. Isn't that a fancy word? It is a vanity cut. It's pretty. So you use it for garnishes and such, which is usually a lot of times what you're using basil for. I like to make homemade spaghetti sauce with it and stuff. So just roll up your basil. You're just gonna stack your leaves in a little pile. So I stacked up some leaves here. And then I'm gonna roll them up. So like a little cigar or cigarette. Just roll it up like that. And then the same rocking motion with your knife. So we're just gonna keep the tip of the blade down. Use the rest of it. So you can see how I can just rock that blade up against my knuckles, and I'm not gonna cut any fingers. And then you can see how pretty. Normally it just kind of comes out in little fine leaves like that, and basil would be even smaller, so it makes a pretty garnish on something. So Krista brought me a bowl to put all my pieces in. Okay, oh, and carrots. So a couple of ways recipes usually call for are julienne, right? Julienne carrots. Best thing to do with something round is to make it flat to keep it safe. So we're just gonna cut off a really thin slice of this carrot so we can make it flat. And then we're safe because we aren't going to be fighting it, rolling all over our cutting board. Now it's flat, right? So from here, I'm just gonna cut it in half because it's, again, a little easier to control. In a smaller piece, you're not gonna get hurt. So just make some nice thin slices through here. I did not like cutting carrots before I got this knife because they were just too hard, but this knife really makes it a lot easier. So I'm gonna cut through this way. Maybe one more. And then what we'll do is stack them up. Like this. So I'm gonna make julienne. So I have a pretty little stack of them. All right, and I'm gonna use this, whoop, I knocked my stack over. You can always do it in half too. A lot of times I'll do it in half so I don't knock my little stack over. So we'll do that. Use my fingers here just to guide that blade. There we go. So just kind of depending on how thin you want them as to how thin your julienne will be. So you're going to use that like if you're pickling something, you don't want a big old piece of it, or you can use that in slaw. You'll do more of like a julienne type cut. There's another fun cut you can do with a carrot, a diagonal cut. So you just cut like this, roll it, and again, and roll it, and again, and roll it, and again, and roll it, again, roll it. So you're making these little diagonal cuts. Isn't that pretty? So those are fun. Another little fun cut you can do with a carrot, and something different. But did you see how easy this knife makes it to just cut these carrots? I'm telling you, if y'all ever had trouble cutting carrots before, this is is gonna be your go-to. Tomatoes, you wanna go with a serrated knife. So I have a tomato knife here. Okay, this one is just a serrated utility knife because a lot of times a flat blade, especially if it's dull, is gonna just smash it and shred it to pieces and juice it. We're not looking to juice it. So what you wanna do is cut the end off first, right? Now you have a flat surface, so you can slice or you can hold it on in. You can slice this away, so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. So I just kind of saw through this one so that I'm not damaging that. See, I'm still keeping the skin intact. So you can do thinner or thicker slices, but see how easy that serrated one just slides right through the skin of that tomato. See that? Isn't that pretty? The other thing you want to use a serrated knife for, now that I've made a big mess on my cutting board, is going to be for bread, right? Because again, you don't want to smash your bread or tear it. So I have a bigger bread knife. Now, see how the handle's offset? Do you think there's a reason for that? Yeah. You know why? So when you're cutting and you're coming down, look, my fingers aren't gonna be smashed into the surface. So pretty smart, Tupperware. So again, hold your knife. Just use a little sawing motion. Look how easy that cuts through there. So I haven't squished the bread, I haven't torn it. Nice and smooth, just saw through. All right, we have a cheese knife too. Isn't it pretty? See the way it's designed to just slide through? It's got a little bit of a serrated here, and the holes will help prevent the cheese from sticking to it. So on this one, you just want to make a nice little slice like that. Again, you always start with the blade down and then drop it back like that. It makes the easiest cuts. So, you always want a super sharp knife too, sharpener. The other two knives that are handy to have, people often use, this one's just your basic utility knife you can use for, you know, kind of whatever you need. If you have a bigger, like potato you want to do some cutting with, or a little paring knife. I use a little paring knife for making pretty radishes and make them look like flowers, or maybe you want to core your strawberry, or even slice the strawberry really small, or peel, like if you do an apple core in the middle. If you don't have a core, then just, you know, I use this one to cut the core out, or peel something small like a kiwi, something small and not so rough. You can use a little, I mean, you know, it's a little harder to do with a peeler. I would just use this, peel it by hand. So that's about it for my knife skills and uses of our different Tupperware knives. So thanks, y'all. Bye.